Okay, so for this objective, we're talking about distance and midpoint, and this is a no calculator section. Just to start off, I want to write the distance and midpoint formulas off to the side here, so this might be a good thing to copy down on a sticky note or a spare sheet of paper or your hand, I don't know, something. Write it down somewhere so you have it when you need it. So the distance formula is going to be equal to the square root of x2 minus x1, and these are coordinate points, squared, plus y2 minus y1 squared. So this is when we have a coordinate point x1, y1, and x2, y2, and we want to find the distance between those 2 points. Now midpoint is still talking about coordinate points. And that's going to be equal to x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1 plus y2 over 2. So this is basically just an average of the 2 points, which gets us the middle of it. So that's a coordinate point. So those are the two formulas that we're going to be working with here. I'm going to give you some examples with numbers. In your practice packet, you might have some with variables, but you do it within the same process. So if we're looking for the midpoint in point A, we've got points A and B in the given. If the midpoint of point A, so we're going to take our x coordinates and add them and then divide by 2. So we've got 1 plus negative 1/4 divided by 2 and negative 3 plus 0 divided by 2. So if I add these together, 1 minus 1/4 is going to be 3/4 divided by 2, and this is going to be negative 3 divided by 2. So now if I'm going to come over here and do 3/4. Remember, when you divide by a number, you multiply by the reciprocal. And negative 3 over 2 can be left like that. And then simplifying it one last time, 3/4 times 1/2 is 3/8. And then the y coordinate is still negative 3 over 2. So the midpoint is 3/8, negative 3/2. Now for the distance, find the length. This is what we mean by distance. If it says find the length of AB, or if it says find AB with no bar over the top of it, it means to use the distance formula. So if you use the distance formula, we would have D equal to the square root of x2, so let's do negative 1/4, minus 1 squared, plus 0 minus negative 3 squared. So remember, careful your negatives here. When you're subtracting, you're always subtracting, but then always remember, if it's a negative number, you're still subtracting again, so don't lose your negative sign somewhere. So if I continue to simplify, negative 1/4 minus 1/4 is 5/4, negative 5/4. And I still square that. Plus 0 minus negative 3 is 3 squared. Continuing to simplify, I'll have the square root of 25 over 16 plus 9. And when you get a common denominator and add those, you're going to get 169 over 16. And we still have a square root. And when you square the top, you're going to get 13. And when you square the denominator, you're going to get 4. So remember, when you do the square root of a number, it's always plus or minus. But for these, for this one in particular, when you're finding the distance here, the negative doesn't make sense. So we kind of ignore that negative and say the distance just equals 13 over 4. So that would be how to use the distance formula. And again, in your practice, you might have a problem with variables in it. You might be given the distance and asked to find a certain coordinate point, but you use the same process in the same algebraic explanation. So in number 2, we are given the 2 points, we want to find an endpoint. Given one endpoint is negative 2, negative 8, and the midpoint is located at 4, 1. So we know what we're supposed to get, but we just need to find out what the other endpoint is. So I'm going to still follow the formula that we have, whoops, and just set it equal to what our answer should be. So if I know I got x plus negative 2 over 2, and that x coordinate should equal 4, if I multiply both sides by 2, I get x minus 2 equals 8, so x is going to equal 10. So that's the x coordinate of the unknown endpoint. And I'll do the same thing for the y's. Y plus negative 8 over 2 should equal 1. Multiplying both sides by 2, get y minus 8 equals 2. So y also equals 10. So the endpoint where this segment starts is going to be at, whoops, that's an ugly looking b. So our endpoint b will be at 10, 10. So that's how you would work backwards to find an endpoint if you're given the midpoint. So go ahead and try level 2s, and let me know if you have questions.